Okay, so this is Divine Sew again with a continuation of the Lonestar diamond construction. So I'm at my sewing machine right now. So as you can see here, I have basically, I'm using one of my rulers and I just laid all the strips, the diamond strips, onto my ruler. So there's 6 strips here. And I've glue basted every one of them together. And I have, don't know if you can see this here, but they're all lined up in order. Okay. I'm going to take one of the strips and I'm going to move this out of the way here. It's a little tight in my sewing room. So, but here's my strip. You can see I have my colored side up, orange, which is my center tip on the Lonestar, facing to the back of the sewing machine. And here is my little strip that we're adding on to the already pieced section of the diamond. Okay, so this is the next strip we're going to sew down. So I have a piece of fabric scrap in my under my presser foot. I'm working with a Bernina 830 and I have a 1/4 inch piecing foot attached. I have an edge guide here and my stitch length is set to 1.75, which is a fairly tiny stitch, and that is because it's better for piecing and it holds this particular sections together better. Okay, so you can see that I have a little tip sticking out here, and there's an intersection here, so I'm going to just stitch along a little bit here, and then I'm going to raise my presser foot a little bit. And we're going to go and line this up here nicely, right along the edge. And as I'm sewing close, don't know if you can see this, but as my needle comes down, it's right in this intersection here. Okay, and my Bernina is very good. I don't need to worry about a scant 1/4 inch. On some machines, you may have to adjust for that. But you want to make sure that when you're sewing and when you finish sewing your seams, this section here, from here to here, or from here to here, is 2 inches apart. And because we're working with 2.5 inch strips. Okay, so we're gonna go and stitch down here. Okay, so I'm gonna slowly start stitching, and I'm gonna make sure, usually I place a hand right here. I don't push, I don't tug, I don't pull. I let the machine do the work, but I'm just putting a little guidance on here so that this doesn't kick out back this way. So I'm just gonna keep chucking along here very gently, and there's no race to it. You can sew as slow or as fast as you want, but I sew slowly. And here's a point where we marked our intersection before. So you just, as you come up to it, I'm just giving a little pressure so the fabric doesn't kick out. And you're going to try to get as close to that mark. And you hear there was no thunk. It was very quiet when I went over that intersection. And that is because it's really perfectly aligned. When you hear a lot of clunking when you're going over your seam, you probably don't have the points aligned properly. So then I just continue on. And I have a little tooly thingy here. This was, I think that's from Martel, I believe it is, a little tool that I had for binding, and it's kind of just rest. I'm not sure if these are still available, but you can use a stiletto. I believe I have one somewhere in my sewing stash here. I'll just see if I can find it. There it is. Okay, there you go. You can use a stiletto if you have one of these. All you need to do is just, as you come up to these intersections, you just want to hold it a little bit, okay? No pressure. I'm not pushing, holding. I'm just guiding very gently. So here's my dot. So I want my needle to come right there. And I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of an assistance here so that this doesn't kick out on me, okay? And we're going to continue to sew that 1/4 inch seam till we get to the end. There's another point here. I go slow, and all I'm doing here is just very gently just have my hand here. I'm not pushing down and holding. I'm just very gently, but I'm giving it a little resistance so that when the feed dogs grab the fabric, it doesn't kick it out. The rest the machine is doing. we're coming up to the next point, and this is where, you know, if you mark your 1/4 inch intersections perfectly, it just goes over. And as I'm going to the seam, I'll be quiet, and you probably can hear, hopefully, that there isn't a big noise. See that? There's no pop sound when I went over the seam. Okay, we'll go way to the end here, and again, as we get to the end, this is the important intersection here because I have some pinked edges. It's a little different to see, but you just keep stitching all the way off the end and make sure that this doesn't kick out this way. You want to have it right up against your guide. Okay, so we've done that one. Now I'll grab the next set of strips. Next diamond piece. I'm going to lift my presser foot slidey, slide this under, use my stiletto, and we're going to continue on sewing. And before I get too far here, I usually kind of stop and trim this piece off. I'll set this back aside. Okay, and then we get my leader. I'll need that again. Okay. And we're going to continue sewing. To do this 6 times until we got all of this done. Next one, we're about halfway through the batch here, and that is, I have 6 strips because I've already made 2 diamonds complete, and that was just a test to make sure everything was lining up the way it should be. Typically you would do this 8 times for 8 sections on your Lonestar. Okay, do this a couple more times here. My stiletto. There we go. Oops, sorry for the bounce. Eee, bumped the camera. Okay, one more strip and we're done. So I'll keep the camera rolling for this one too. We'll start this one off. Snip it off back here. It's hard to see, but I am snipping it off. Handle it carefully, don't stretch it. And always place them back kind of in the same orientation. There we go. Sew my leader back under here. I'm going to turn the piece off. There we go. Okay. All right. So that's it over here. So now we're going to go to the ironing board.